Alright guys, so it is that time again where we have the top 10 hardest hitters of Dokkan list calculated by Mobile Man over on the Dokkan subreddit. So again, Mobile Man kind of like calculates, optimal lineups, all types of shit. And so through a certain set of rules, a certain criteria, the top 10 hardest hitting units in Dokkan list was created. Now, if we go through, the first thing I do want to point out here is that Mobile Man does make the point to add that several units have been released since the last time the list was done, such as Ultra Instinct Goku's Dokkan Awakening, EGL Dokkan Fest Turles, LR Beerus and Whis, and the Extreme Z-Awaken Full Power Frieza, and none of those 4 units made the top 10 hardest hitting units list. Also, there is a top 5 summonable LR list, but not Dokkan Fest LRs, right? So like LR Super Vegito and LR Super Gogeta, those 2 units are a part of the top 10 hardest hitters. Now the general rulebook is stuff that we'll kind of go over as we go along. Dupe system rules. Now, okay, here's where do we get to the point where okay. The one thing that we do want to talk about with this list is that, as you guys can see, top 10 hardest hitting Dokkan Fest units, TURs, and free-to-play LRs. Now, free-to-play units on this list are calculated to be at the rainbow level because, again, they're free-to-play. You can get the dupes without spending money, so it's calculated that they are a rainbow star. Now, the summonable units is calculated with no dupes, the free dupe level. So they're all, 55% in the dupe system? So do keep that in mind as we are going through the list. So, the number 10 unit is LR Super Vegito, aka LR Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta. This is my pick for maybe the best unit in the game, and they are 10th on the hardest hitters list. Now, they are calced, I believe, on their own team, the Potara team. Yep, right there. LR Super Vegito leader skills. Not much to say. They're just crazy, ridiculously powerful. The only thing is that, again, right here, due to the lack of difficulty for optimal teams, LR Super Vegito is assumed to not transform because almost no fights will survive 6 turns against the Potara team. And even if they did, Dokkan Fest bosses don't have enough offense to bring you down below 50% health unless you sabotage yourself. I have found that to be 100% accurate. Especially with the Potara team, which is on the short list of possible best teams in the game. Especially, once you have LR Goku Black on there healing and shit, you're not really going to get that transformation to occur very often. But this unit is still insanely powerful nonetheless. So, the unit who is here, number 9. Now, we will get to the changes in a second. Well, not changes, but later on in the list, Mobile Man does note that SCR Rose Goku Black should actually have been on the last list. Every single time there's one of these top 10 hardest hitting units lists, I always do a video on it. In the last list, Mobile Man notes that Rose Goku Black should have been on it because he did not factor in the extreme type allies attack 30% for 1 turn from Rose's super attack, which does lead to enough extra attack being accumulated that it does put him on the list. So, also, we do have links active as we go through. Okay, so he is being calced on the Potara team on LR Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta. That is determined to be Super Saiyan Rose Goku Black's best team in terms of damage. Not a lot to say about him. Obviously, he attack 120%, pretty good. But it's his passive buff that is really, really good for him, right? Like that extreme type allies, key 3, and defense 50% is very, very good, especially if he's on a rotation with LR Goku Black and Zamasu. This guy will bring a lot out of him, which is going to be very, very good. Alright, so the next unit on the list is actually Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma. And I believe, yep, they are calced on Super Saiyan 4 Goku's team, Super SCR, a 120% bonus. So, what's interesting about this is Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma is number 8 on this list, and he's on a 120% team. As we continue to go through the list, you guys will see that the rest of this list is filled out with units that are on category teams. That is why they're able to hit so hard, because they get massive bonuses. We're talking 150%, 170% from leader skills, whereas Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta Bulma here is only getting 120%. Obviously, he gets that attack 100% on his passive, and then he is a counter unit. Counter units are just dumb OP, especially when calcing like damage like this. Like all the times he will get attacked, and he's just going to be able to get that off over and over and over. So Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma, one of the best units in the game. Now, the unit in the number 7 spot is actually my boy, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. One of my personal favorite units in the game. I absolutely love his ability to dodge super attacks at a 70% rate and counter, which does factor into his attack equation. So there's some special notes, obviously. Factored in his high chance to counter enemy supers, a 70% chance to dodge and counter, and he is the most defensive unit on both of the main rotations for, I believe, the LR Super Gogeta team. Yep. The number of counterattacks he is calculated to receive is based on the assumption that he is moved between the first and second slots to block as many attacks as possible, which is correct. I do feel as though Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is always a unit that, like, on all the teams he can be on, I absolutely love this guy. Like, that defensive viability of blocking a super attack is just so good. And then for him to counter the way he does is fantastic. Obviously, he also does get the 120% attack buff from his passive, and he greatly raises his attack on super, which is a 50% buff. And then, of course, if he gets a super attack off before he gets a counter, that damage is going to skyrocket. So that's why Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is in the 7th slot. Now, the unit in the number 6 slot is actually Physical Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, who I believe will be calced, on Super Saiyan 3 Bardock's team. He is able to reach his 11 key super on Bardock's team pretty easily, I might add. Very, very often, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks is able to get that 11 key super, because most of the time, he's only gonna need 2 key. Because, he's going to get over in a flash for someone. He'll be at 9 key. And then it's pretty simple just only getting 2 key to get that 11 key super consistently, which will allow Gotenks to hit insanely monster mega hard. Because obviously he will be massively raising his attack for 1 turn, causing immense damage. He gets attack 120% from his passive plus an additional 60%. And that all calcs to a ridiculous amount of damage. Obviously, too, massively equates to a 100% attack buff. So this fucker will hit very hard, especially on the Super Saiyan 3 team, where he's able to get that 11 key consistently. All right, now number 5 is actually Int Gogeta. Now, I was a little surprised to see Int Gogeta above Super Saiyan 3 Physical Gotenks, but it's just the way he is. Like, he's just a very solid, very clutch unit. The attacks effective against all types are a big deal. Plus his attack 120%, immense damage. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out why he's able to hit so hard. And again, he is calced on LR Super Gogeta's fusion team. But again, not really much to talk about with him, because Int Super Gogeta, like, his stuff is so straightforward, right? Like, just attack 120%, attacks effective against all types. Boom. Done. We all got it. All right, let's move on to the next unit. So the number 4 unit is actually LR Super Gogeta, or LR Super Saiyan Goku Angel and Super Saiyan Vegeta Angel. Now, of course, they are calced to be on their own team. So look at this. So on the optimal team, LR Super Gogeta has some key issues, but he's better off than LR Super Vegito. Although the duo generates extra key from their passive, brief testing has shown that they'll only reach 18 key approximately 60% of the time. So if we go take a look at them, Of course, just like LR Super Vegito, they have attack and defense 120% at the start of turn. They get an additional 2 ki from Rainbow Orbs, meaning they get 3 ki from Rainbow Orbs. And then when conditions are met, they'll do the Fusion Dance. And then obviously Super Vegito, like that card, they'll do the Potara Fusion when the conditions are met for them. Now, this unit, I've noticed that this unit does appear to be better. Maybe their links just fit better on their team or whatnot. But the Super Saiyan Goku Angel and Vegeta Angel card, I think, is better than the LR Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta card, right? But once the transformations happen, I think Super Vegito is safely head and shoulders above the Super Gogeta card. So, all right, moving on to number 3, we have Physical Super Vegito, because, again, counter units are just dumb OP. And, of course, Physical Vegito, I believe, is going to be calced on, the Potara team, LR Super Vegito. So let's go ahead and go through this. His attack calculation is extremely complicated. The fact that he attacks every time he's hit with a normal attack means different parts of his attack equation have different amounts of attack buffs. Had to break his attack equation into 3 separate components. So there's just a whole bunch going on, because here's why. Every time Vegito is hit, he will get an additional 10% attack buff, all the way up to a 100% attack buff. And after he supers, he raises allies' attack by 30% for 1 turn. So it creates a very complex situation where, like, how many times does he hit before he attacks? How many times does he hit after he attacks? And how does that determine all of his damage? But, like, it is pretty clear to see in many events nowadays, like, when you get to the hardest stage of that event, and you have 7 attacks in that first slot, you put Super Vegito in there, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma, AGL Super Vegito, any of those fuckers in there, and they are going to make mincemeat out of the enemy. Counter units are just dumb OP. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Alright, so next we move on to Tech Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, the guy who just dropped on Global Dokkan. Now again, this is another guy, there's a lot to talk about with him. He's calced on the Potara team as well. I hope you guys have noticed a trend here, in that most of these fucking units on this list are either on LR Super Gogeta's team or LR Super Vegito's team. It's ridiculous. So, Tech Vegito Blue, right? A lot to talk about with him. He raises his attack by 20% on his super and does immense. And then he has a 100% chance to launch an additional, and then a 70% chance to launch a second additional. And then each of those has a 30% chance to be a super attack. And then every single attack he does raises his attack by 15%. So if you have a great opening rotation, where let's say this guy does 4 super attacks, start of the fight, he super attacks 4 times in a row. From that point on, this dude is going to be dumb strong. There's only one unit in the game that, like, really comparable will do as much damage as this guy, and that is LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Tech Vegito Blue is a monster. Yep, there's the 100% chance, 70% chance. Passive gives him an average buff of 84% attack. Okay, that's interesting. Another thing to mention with both SCR Rose Goku Black and Tech Vegito Blue is they actually do have a 160% 12 key multiplier, which is a big deal. Now, I want to take a pause and tell everyone that the next unit is going to be very controversial on this list for a couple of reasons. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. The number 1 unit on the list is LR Vegito fucking Blue. Now, instantly I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? Nani? Here's why. Because LR Super Saiyan Blue Vegito is a non-gacha unit, he will be calculated at the rainbow level. All other units on the list are calculated at the free dupe level. Now, it creates a weird scenario where LR Vegito Blue is the hardest hitter, like, in the game according to this list. But obviously, like, once you get dupes in all the other units on this list, they will skyrocket past LR Vegito Blue. But at the same time, I do feel as though this list is very fair, right? Like, it's hard to kind of say that many people are going to have dupes of some of these units. LR Super Gogeta, LR Super Vegito. You pull one, and for most people, it's probably smart then to back out of the banner and to stop summoning. So, like, they're not calcing them with dupes. But LR Vegito Blue here, of course, it's so easy to get his dupes. It takes almost no effort at all to get dupes for LR Vegito Blue. And obviously getting orbs in him and stuff is very, very easy. So that's why he's number one on this list. Now, some people may say it's a little hard to get him, but really, just as long as you have not re-rolled anytime recently or are a brand new player, LR Vegito Blue is not that difficult to obtain. He'll get his 18 key 75% of the time on the Potara team. Of course, he is calced on the LR Super Vegito team, the Potara team. So basically, it works like this. If you have no dupes, you go LR Vegito Blue. If you have one dupe in Tech Vegito Blue, he becomes better than LR Vegito Blue at that point. Me personally, I do feel as though on the Potara team, I do like running LR Vegito Blue better because of the fact that it just works a lot better with LR Super Vegito since they only have Prepare for Battle. They work a lot better with LR Vegito Blue, whereas Tech Vegito Blue only has Over and Flash, so he does not link very well with LR Super Vegito at all. So that is basically the top 10 hardest hitting units list. So from this point on, we will be taking a look at the top 5 hardest hitting non-Dokkan Fest Gacha LRs. In the number 5 spot, we have LR Goku Black and Zamasu calced on the Potara team alongside SCR Rose Goku Black. And of course, we have this beast. I've talked about these guys at length constantly. They are monstrous. Attack 30% with each attack up to 120%. They have a great link set. They'll be linked up with SCR Rose Goku Black, creating one of the most formidable rotations in the entire game. Matter of fact, I could almost say it might be the most formidable rotation in the game. Just absolutely stunningly powerful. So, moving on to the number 4 unit, we have LR Gohan, like the OG unit that everyone goes crazy about. Obviously, as more units are released, he is starting to fall back from the top of the pack. Like, obviously, LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku easily outdamages him. Units like Broly, and as you guys can see, there is one other LR, summonable LR, who has managed to sneak above LR Gohan, but there's an easy reason to explain why. So obviously, LR Gohan is on an Ultimate Gohan leader skill, right? Which is 130% attack. If we go back up this list, Super Vegito, 170% attack. Super Vegito, 170% attack. Super Vegito, 170% attack. Super Vegito, 170% attack. Super Gogeta, 170% attack. Super Gogeta, 170% attack. Super Saiyan 3 Bardock, 170% attack. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, 170% attack. Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma, 120% attack. So as you guys can see, almost the entire list is formed around units that get a 170% attack buff from their leader skill. So that's why it's impressive that units like LR Gohan and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Bulma are on here when, Vegeta and Bulma only have the 120% buff, and then LR Gohan here only has the 130% buff. But obviously his passive and greatly raising his attack for one turn on 18 key super, combine those two, and he is a hell of a hard-hitting unit. He does get attack 18% for every key sphere obtained, and an additional 1 key whenever he gets a key sphere. So for int key spheres, he gets 3 key, and every other key sphere, he gets 2 key. Very, very monstrously powerful unit. Now, the next unit is LR fucking Bojack. I've been telling people, telling these fuckers, that LR Bojack is underrated and is a beast. And he sure the fuck is. Here we go. On the movie villains team, LR Bojack finally has his dream setup. He's always linked with TUR Bojack and has key support from the floater on every turn. That change made him go from one of the worst performing gacha LRs to one of the best in terms of both offense and defense, which I have said as well. The double Turles on the Movie Boss team is stupid. Turles is like one of the best units in the game. 3 ki and 40% attack from his passive. Obviously, this LR Bojack is calced on Turles' team, a 150% attack buff. Now, here's the thing, too. LR Bojack here is calced with TUR Bojack, but the AGL Bojack or the SCR Bojack work almost just as well. The only difference, I believe, is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's Revival. Revival is the one link that, like, the SCR and AGL Bojacks do not have. Is it Revival? Yeah. Yep, okay. Yep, it's Revival. So, the only difference between the TUR Int Bojack and the AGL Bojack or SCR Bojack in terms of links is the fact that the Int TUR Bojack has Revival, whereas the AGL and SCR ones do not. Obviously, Bojack gets an attack buff of 80%, and then the higher your health, he gets up to a 70% additional attack buff, and then his 18 ki super mega colossal damage, and he raises extreme type allies attack by 40% for 1 turn, so he is able to hit monstrously hard. LR Bojack, monster of a unit. Now, the next unit, LR Broly. Now, here's what's funny. Even though Turles' leader skill of 150% attack buff gives Broly a lower buff than Angel Golden Frieza's 170% buff, LR Broly actually performs better on the Movie Boss team due to having better ki support. On the Movie Boss team, LR Broly will get his 18 ki attack roughly 2/3 of the time. As such, his calculation is an average of 2 attacks with 20 ki and 1 attack with 16 ki. And of course, Broly also always performs 2 super attacks. Looking at him, his 18 ki and 12 ki, just colossal and mega colossal damage. Nothing crazy there. His passive is when performing a super attack, he will do 80,000, he gets a flat bonus buff of 80,000. And then, of course, he launches his additional super as well. LR Broly has been a monster for a long time, and he continues to still shine. Obviously, with Turles floating around on that team, Broly is able to get a massive attack buff and super easily. Love that Movie Boss's team for all it's worth. It is a very, very good team. Now, as time rolls on, and there's more and more of these lists, LR Broly will probably fall down the list because that 80% attack buff is going to hold him, or not 80%, I said 80%, didn't I? That 80,000 flat attack bonus is going to hold him back in the long run compared to units that get percentages. But as of right now, he is still looking good. And then, of course, number 1 with a motherfucking bullet, LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku on the Super Saiyan 3 Bardock team. Again, a 170% attack buff passive, or leader skill, excuse me. His 18 ki super, when LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku gets it, he gets attack 180%. Crazy powerful. And the Super Saiyan 3 team, he's able to get most of his links active. He's just the hardest hitting unit in the game, period. Attack 180% when performing a super attack. So that support type passives and links factor into the damage, makes him far and away the hardest hitting unit in the game. Now, going over some of the changes. So Super Saiyan Vegito Blue, LR Super Vegito Blue, and Rose Goku Black were added to the list. And then, of course, here's the note that SCR Rose Goku Black should have been on the previous list, but he was excluded because Moldman forgot to factor in the attack buff from his super attack. Now, Super Saiyan 3 Bardock and Super Saiyan 3 Broly were removed from the main top 10 hardest hitters list. A shame for Super Saiyan 3 Bardock because he's so good. Super Saiyan 3 Broly is, he's an okay unit. LR Majin Vegeta was removed from the Gotcha LR list, thanks to LR Bojack claiming a spot there. And again, of course, LR Bojack added to the Gotcha LR list. So we're talking about all calculations with built-up passives were adjusted. Build-up passives are factored in after the 12 key multiplier, even though they are shown in the attacks at the beginning of the turn. Interesting. Following units had their calculations updated because they performed better on a new team, Bojack and LR Broly. And a rule was added specifying that non-Gotcha units are considered at the maximum possible dupe buff level which does make a lot of sense to me. I don't really have a problem with LR Vegito Blue being at the top of this list, but you must understand that it's only because, if you have LR Vegito Blue, you're going to have him rainbowed. That's just the way it is. Whereas, just because you have Tech Vegito Blue doesn't mean you have dupes for him. But basically, many units on this list will jump ahead of LR Vegito Blue with even one dupe, I would imagine. So do keep that in mind. Shout outs to Mobile Man and the entire Dokkan subreddit for all the awesome work they do. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.